if you owe $5,000 on your credit card, right? And you only make the minimum payment. So, 2%, whatever, that works out to be $100, right? That's the payment you're going to make. You owe $5,000 and you're going to make the minimum payment of $100. Let's see how this affects you. So, usually on a credit card, your interest is calculated on a monthly basis. So we're going to break it down, take the monthly 22%. That's very conservative because most credit cards are higher than this, right? So I'm going very conservative. So if your credit card interest is 22%, calculate that over for a year to get the monthly amount, right? So that's 1.833% for the month, right, on that debt. So you owe $5,000, you're making a payment of $100, so that's 2% of the entire debt that you owe. So 1.83%. Now, when you go over here to see how much you would actually be paying just in interest, right, on that $5,000 balance, you multiply that by your 1.83%, that's approximately $92 or so, right? So that is your interest for month one, right? You're making $100 payment. So $100, interest is 91.65. Do the math here. 100 minus 91.65, $8.35. That's how much you paid on that $5,000 bill that month, because most of it went to interest. And if people don't realize this, that's what's happening. So I've heard people say this, oh, I have this bill and I've been paying. Specifically with student loans, you hear that a lot. And I'm not making a dent. That's because of the interest, right? So
that's across the board.
That's across
card, mortgage.
Right. 100%, 100%. It's across the board. Yes, for any debt. Exactly. So you're making your $100 payment because that's what you could afford. That's your minimum that you could pay. And this is what's happening to your money. 91.65% of that is going to interest only. And then you're only knocking off $8.35. So you started month one. So after month one, you started with $5,000. Your interest was $91.65. You paid $100. You thought you made some... Right. You balling. You're like, I'm paying. And then look, your new balance.
Only -$8.35.
Minus $8.35. So that's why that is a trap. And a lot of people get caught in that because they're like, well, I'm paying. Now, let's take it a step further. All right. So this gives you a picture, right, after month one. If you keep going like in this rate, right? So it only took off $8.35. So you keep paying, but your balance barely moves. That's because of the interest. If you keep this for $5,000, and there are people who do this, let's be clear. There are people who they take a credit card and they're like, I don't care, it's not my money. I'm just gonna use it. But that $100 was your money. It is your money. Right? That $100 that you pay, for 20 years, 30 years could end up being this.
Wow. And more.
Because also, let's remember, your credit card interest rate is not locked. That could change. That could go up. And I think right now credit card rates are very high. They're like at least 27, 29%. So it's a lot higher than 22. So that's why I said I was being conservative with that number. But when you look at it, they give you a range. So it could be on the low end or the high end. Now, if your credit starts to be bad, you're going to be on the high end, right? So imagine that you took this $5,000 loan from whatever, whether it's on your credit card or like Koran said, that's for any, so you took a personal loan. It would be the same thing. Imagine paying this over a period of years.
But that's only if you only have one card.
We're doing one exercise for one card. Exactly.
Now, imagine if you have multiple cards.
Imagine if you have multiple cards.
With this, it's going to affect your credit score because you're never going to leave the 30%.
Yep.
I mean, the 30%,
Yep. So it affects your credit score, but forget, you know how much money this is? At least in today's day. That's a lot of money. Imagine what you could do with $11,000 or $14,000 and multiply that by 5 if you have 5 loans outstanding, right? So again, more of the money goes to interest, less money goes towards your actual debt reduction because of the interest, and the lender earns significantly more over time. That's why they give you a loan. They're in the business of making money. So, oop, that went too fast.
I have a question.
Yep.
I don't know if you go over this or something, if you will. Someone told me if you make, instead of the $100,
Mm-hmm.
do $50, and then 2 weeks later do $50, that could reduce it.
Yep.
Is that true?
Yes, it can.
You
Okay.
have to stay on
Yeah.
that.
You have to.
Yeah,
So
you have to stay on it. But if you are organized, because sometimes, like you said, people may not have.
yeah.
And so if you have in your mindset, well, only $8 goes through, then you might slip, and then you get a late fee and all that stuff, and that could make it worse. So if you only have 100, pay 100.
I think at the end, I think I have an amortization schedule. It's not in this, but I'm gonna try to pull it up and I'll show you after the presentation, because I do that with my car.
Yeah.
So I pay my car weekly,
Mhm.
right? So automatically I set it up for